So long as like alchemy.
All right, y'all, video number 2, because why not, I can. And you know, with Martin Luther King Day, that really signifies the start of when people's interest in the league really pick up. Games start to matter. Saturday night, Boston, Golden State. Is it a finals preview? I don't know. But really, what it was and what it signified for Warrior fans was the real first test for DeMarcus Cousins. You're looking at a team that's very versatile, a lot of wing players, and a coach that you knew was going to test the defensive integrity of the Warriors with Boogie in the middle. And that's what you saw in the first quarter. You saw them give up some open threes. Horford, of course, spreads the floor. The switching, they put him in a ton of pick and rolls, and he got eaten up a bit, right? There was a naked slip to the basket for a dunk. That's always going to be the case. The real question is, can he answer back on the other end and make it worthwhile for him to stay in the game? He didn't have a huge offensive output. He hit a 3, he had a couple steals and some baskets here and there. But I think what he proved in this game, which was, you could argue, the biggest stage he's ever been on in the NBA. Because if you think back to his Sacramento days, they never sniffed a playoff berth. And then last season in New Orleans, he got hurt really before the final playoff push. So he hasn't been in any meaningful or big stage games in the NBA. And that was the real question. That was the real thing that I wanted to see how he responded to that. And what he showed me was that he has an extra notch. He can make an extra effort in big moments. And we saw that in the fourth quarter. 5 fouls. And he basically got Golden State 3 turnovers. He forced 3 turnovers on a flop, an offensive foul, and then getting his hands in the passing lanes and even picking Kyrie. And that was just IQ and extra effort, because he understands playing with Kyrie on Team USA. When he comes off the screen, he loves that throw-ahead dribble to split the double, and then he gets into the paint. He read it, used that big paw, and got the turnover, man. So I was impressed, not just with how he looked physically and how he rose to the occasion, but I also like what he's doing mentally. It got me to thinking, again, back to this being the biggest stage for him, and obviously the best team he's ever been on. It's bigger than him, because he still has his little hissy fits when he gets a bad call and he looks up to the skies for whys, and you know, he'll always have that. But he keeps it moving now. He doesn't bicker, at least yet. It's very early, still a honeymoon phase, but he's not bickering because why? It's bigger than him. Before, I think he knew subconsciously, like, yo, if I foul out, if I'm in foul trouble, my team doesn't have a chance. But now, being 4th or 5th in the pecking order on a team, he's got to keep it moving. He's got to keep playing basketball. And right now, early on with this squad, that mentality is helping him. So, you know, I give Boogie a passing grade for his first big game. Now, the other big marquee matchup in this is Steph and Kyrie are always going to be compared to each other because of their history, because they're 2 elite point guards playing at the same time, right? And I don't even think it's close. Kyrie, his handle, it is what it is. He's the greatest ball handler we've probably ever seen. Steph, the greatest shooter we've ever seen. They do things differently. And, you know, don't take this as hate, because I like to watch Kyrie. He's spectacular, right? But as a trainer and as a coach, I would never have a kid model their game after Kyrie. It's just not energy efficient. It's just not energy efficient, right? He uses a lot of energy to get a basket. And then 2, he's so spectacular, I don't think you can replicate that. You have a very slim chance of playing ball like that and being successful. And that in part is why it's so amazing to watch. But I could see during the game, and he was spectacular. He had several spectacular baskets and drives where it was a series of about 15 dribbles to get a basket. And you could see Jalen and Tatum in the corners kind of like waiting. You know, it's very hard to keep a rhythm, even if it's like a 2-second extra wait. When you're waiting, you're open. It feels like an eternity. It's very hard to hold a rhythm that way. And another thing I noticed with Kyrie is he doesn't give you great pocket passes, right? Because he's so low, he's off balance, he's been doing so much, he kind of flips it out to you. It may not necessarily be outside of your catch radius, but it's not where you want it in your pocket. But yeah, they're 2 spectacular guards. I will say, I'll give you this little detail that I think on ball, when Kyrie's locked in, he's probably a better defender than Steph. But Steph is the far superior team defender as far as switching, help defense, being in the right spot. That's where Steph is much, much better and stronger, as well as the shooting. Now, the game started out and I was like, oh man, because Steph had a slow start, and you know the haters, they love to bring up, where's Steph Curry in the big games? Second quarter, that changed. He hit 4 or 5 threes in a row, right? And the trend with all of those threes they were the relocation threes, right? Where he dribbles, passes it off, runs through the lane, relocates, catches, and fires. And he started dancing on them, and you know, it was a bit much with the dancing, I'm not going to front. But he hit 4 or 5 threes in a row, and I think that Boston, you know, your strength is your weakness. Here I go again with that, right? But their size and versatility, when they roll out those lineups of all guys 6'7" and 6'8", that's great for switchability. But with the relocating process that Steph does, that weapon, it was hard for them to unclog the middle. It was even more effective because of the size of Boston, right? And so he hit those, and then you go into the second half, and where'd he go? Where'd Steph go? Would he have 1 shot in the fourth quarter? I know a lot of people are upset about that, and there's various reasons for that. The first I'll point out, I want to give credit to Boston. You don't think that wasn't Boston's game plan? We're not going to let Steph Curry go off on us? Of course that was. And then you look at their personnel. Marcus Smart, you could make an argument, is a top 3 perimeter defender, very physical. We know that can bother Steph at times, right? But what I want to point out is that I think where us, the Warrior fan base, some of us, I should say, is a bit off base. Sometimes when Steph doesn't get the amount of shot attempts that we expect him to get or should get, we immediately, or some people immediately, want to place the blame on Durant. Now, did Durant have an amazing game? No, he didn't. And he got a little bit over-aggressive. He got into some ISO stuff, but frankly, we needed it in this game. Every game is itself. It's separate, right? And people love to say, well, Durant is best when he scores within the flow of the offense. Everybody is best when they score in the flow of the offense. You realize that. So, of course he is, right? And in a perfect world, when things are going, you know, in an ideal world for the Warriors, it's Steph ultra aggressive and he's firing, and KD is scoring within the flow, picking his spots, right? The other team might as well just hit the bus, right? That's when, yeah, it's pretty hard to beat. But I just want to point out that it's not always Durant. Curry, to me, it's very obvious when he doesn't really want the ball. I know that there's the other complaint is he's playing too much off ball. I agree with that. And people, you know, there's different hypotheticals of, is he being told to do this? Does he want to do this? I don't know. I don't have the answer for you. We can only watch. It is and maybe this is him being passive aggressive, but you know, it's night and day when he's coming off screens, if he wants it or not. And I think that his teammates pick up on it as well. And so it's not just always Durant's fault. There's various reasons. It's Steph, it's Kerr, and it's KD. KD can get over aggressive. We needed it in that one last night. I do want to take some time to acknowledge Klay Thompson in this game, because sometimes, man, you look at the numbers, I think he was a -12, and that's why I don't always look at those, man, because they don't always tell the story of the game. Klay had a spectacular game. You want to talk about scoring within the flow of the offense. He hit the biggest shot of the night, had several nice drives and decisiveness, but it was the defense that stuck out to me. And, you know, athleticism is measured differently. There's different types of it, right? And the easy test is you see a guy that can jump out of the gym or he's really fast up and down the court with the ball and you go, oh man, he's an athlete, right? Well, Klay is underrated as an athlete because he has a very nice balance of lateral quickness and strength. So he's laterally quick enough to stay with Kyrie, but he can also stay in front of Harden when he drops the shoulder on him and not get knocked off balance. So that's a unique combination for Klay Thompson in his athleticism, and I thought his defense, you know, you saw him put the clamps down on Kyrie late in that game. Look at the stat line, 3 of 10 on 37 possessions. Now, the familiarity of that really helps. But you talk about ISO ball, Kyrie went kind of ISO there. Golden State got aggressive with their trapping scheme coming off the pick and rolls late in that game, and Kyrie coughed it up 3 or 4 times late in that game. But either way, I think that the game delivered. I was excited for it, and it was close the whole way. The intensity was there. It was played at a high level really up until those sloppy turnovers from both Kyrie and KD late in the game. Now, moving forward, it's Indiana, and that could be a game, careful, that could be a trap game. Oladipo, obviously, the ruptured quad, but Indiana's deep, man. They're deep. The Sabonis kid, Tyreek Evans, the young Holiday kid's gonna get some minutes. Miles Turner, right? They've got a lot of guys and a lot of pride in, just like, you know, shout out Bill Simmons, the Ewing theory, right? For a brief period of time, when a team loses a star, everybody elevates and they're even better. So be aware of that. That might be a tough game Monday, but the game that I've got circled is that Thursday game back at Oracle against the Sixers. I want to see Embiid and Cousins go at each other. Embiid is special, man. He's like what you want Karl Anthony Towns to be. You know I got to take a shot at somebody. But so I'm really looking forward to that game as well. I'll be back with another breakdown. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.
I've been winning so long, it's like alchemy.